Hello Gills fans and welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. I am lucky enough today to be sitting in the home dugout at Priestfield with this man, Tom Hadler. Thanks for coming on, Tom.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you coming to have a chat. We're just going to have a little chat about the life of a goalie and sort of future hopes for Tom and trying to break into the first team, etc, etc. So we'll crack straight on. Goalkeeping obviously is a slightly different art to an outfield player.
Sure is.
At what age did you realise you was a goalkeeper, or was you like most kids and you wanted to play up front and score loads of goals when you was younger?
No, to be fair, I was quite early on. I didn't work out. I went along just keen little kid. I used to go and watch my dad. He played only sort of Sunday morning stuff, and used to go and watch him.
He was a keeper?
No, he wasn't actually.
No?
We just went along, watched him, and then got to a point where it was obviously my turn to start playing. And he very graciously stopped playing himself and started taking me along. Went along to my first session, and they were looking around for a goalie to go and goal. And they said to him, anyone fancy your son going in? He went, I don't know, ask him. So I went in.
So that's what I was going to say, because a lot of keepers, you sort of hear that they sort of got chucked in by chance.
Yeah, that was it. It was like, I went, yeah, I'll have a go. And I went in, and like first session, I just started flying around. I was stopping everything. Everyone was like, hold on a sec, I think he might be a goalie. So after that, Dad then became my coach, and he'd obviously seen that and was quite happy to leave me in goal and stuff. So yeah, pretty much from day dot I've been a goalie. But
so you've just effectively answered my second question, which is fine. So what sort of age was that then that you realised that I am actually quite good at it and I might want to persist with this?
Probably 6 or 7. I mean, I was quite handy on the playground, so I did like out pitch. So I still like varied it up a little bit until I was probably, I don't know, 9. I'd play 9 or 10. I'd play out on pitch a little bit, playing goal for a half, and that. But it was pretty early on that I realised,
because you're quite a fair size.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 20 now. Yeah.
You're only 20, so yeah. So I think you're built for it.
That is.
Was you big as a kid, or
yeah?
Like, so that helps?
I mean, Dad's 6'5", so I mean, I
blimey.
obviously inherited that, which is a big help. Mum's tall as well, so he's always destined, I think, really to be a goalie.
It's obviously one of ours at the moment. Thomas is absolutely ginormous.
He's huge. I know.
He's ridiculous.
He's quite a funny one. That I used to always be Big Tom, and then he rocks up, and you think, hold on a sec, yeah.
There's a picture going. I think it was after Charlton, and I think we called it on our match day live, and he's directing Daki to the near post, defending a corner. And it looks like a dad telling his kid what to do, because it must be about 1.5 foot difference. It was ridiculous. I mean, Tom's what, 6'9" or something ridiculous. He's ginormous.
Ridiculous,
but yeah, and there's a picture of little Daki right in front of him, and Thomas is just like pushing him towards the near post, and he's like,
no,
"Oh, Dad." Obviously, so you got into it at quite a young age. Historically, goalkeepers have always been a little bit, how can I put this politely, eccentric, shall we call it, and a little bit of a different breed to outfield players. Is that still the case? I mean, obviously, I'm growing up I'm a lot older than you, but sort of growing up in the 90s, looking at Peter Schmeichel and Rennie Arguita, the Colombian, the Scorpion kick, you've probably seen it. You probably weren't that old when it happened. But,
no.
Who else was there? Neville Southall, great Everton keeper.
Yeah,
I remember I was reading an article the other day that there was one game, I think, playing for Everton in the 80s, and he just decided he weren't going in at half time because he conceded 2, so he just sat by the post.
Good attitude.
Just stayed out there on his own. And,
no, I think answer your question, we are all exactly the same still.
I think
there's an element. Obviously, you can't get away with like being completely nuts, but like that you have to have a certain streak in you, and you can be as mellow as you like off the pitch, but as soon as you get on there, like it's a whole different.
Because you come across as and I mean this in the nicest possible way. Like you come across as older than what you are. You seem quite level-headed and.
I've always sort of prided myself on the fact that I'll work hard and I won't get ahead of myself. Like obviously I have aspirations to get right to the top, do everything I need to do to get there. So, but until I get there, like I have to play it cool and do it properly and
cool.
And
that's good.
So off the pitch I'll be normal, and then as soon as I get on there, hopefully that's that you switch on. That's that aggression.
Game face,
and that game face, and you get into it. So.
Oh, no, that's good. So he is mental then. Obviously, I've just touched on a few keepers. Obviously from my time growing up, but obviously for you as a kid, it's a slightly different era in terms of goalkeeping heroes. Role models, obviously.
I mean, It's a good question. Latterly, I think Neuer. I think you'd read off the normal names, but I'm a big fan of Neuer. I think the way he controls his box is just second to none. Like his ability on the ball as well as his goalkeeping ability.
This was the thing I spoke to with Max last week. Because obviously I asked him a similar question about centre backs, and I said similar, and obviously more so with you guys in goal, was the game's changed a lot. Obviously with the back pass rule that came in a few years ago, but everyone has to be able to play now. And we spoke about it, and he said even the goalies have to play. And we spoke about, obviously you see Thomas and Nels and you before that down with Pledge during match day warm-ups, both feet.
We'll have whole sessions like dedicated to kicking. That'll be like you do a whole morning. You might do a few hands, and it'll be a kicking session that you work with players and stuff. Obviously, I haven't had the chance to do that in a long while now because of circumstances. But it's a massive part of the game now, and you have to be right.
So do you get involved in training in just like the 2-touch drills and stuff like that, or anything like that? Games of 5-a-side just to hone your skills or whatever.
To be fair, we play a lot of like small-sided games just to get the boys' sharpness up as much as us. Like, but in that you'll be like you're one of the players. Obviously, you have to be one of the players in a small tight area to create overloads and that kind of thing. So you're going to be part of it. And that's you have to be sharp with your feet, and that is certainly you're not going to get away with anything if you muck up in that. Then it's a goal. Like it's obviously a concentrated version of a match day. So
that's the thing, and like you just said, goalkeepers unfortunately, and Neil's had a few last season. It's apologies for that. Like you say, if you make a mistake, generally it leads to unfortunately conceding. Whereas if a striker misses a sitter, chances are he might get another chance later on in the game. It's not as big an error, so to speak.
You go to zero as quick as that, so that's why it's important. It is up for it as you like to remain level-headed and just take everything on its merit and learn from if anything does happen. Like as we've seen with Nels, he's had some great games this season, ones that haven't gone as well to plan, but he's aware of that. Like you just have to learn from it, and we've had a lot of conversations, just me and him about it and that. And I say you just move on. Like you can't change it. You just move on. Like it might be annoying, might be not, but you've worked all week to stop from happening. But bang, you have to be in, and then you'll have a good game next week, and it'll be.
Everyone's human at the end of the day. And it don't matter. Like you say, your sort of profession is in the public eye. Obviously, you've got thousands of people watching on a Saturday or whatever, and but people make mistakes in all jobs, don't they? So it happens. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Well, you've been out on loan a couple of times to a lower level, quite locally, I suppose, as well, wasn't it? So
I've had I went Tunbridge Angels in. That was good. That was my first year as a pro. So when I was only 18, and I went, and that was Ryman Prem, so that was good. And then last season, sort of obviously not the one just gone, but the one before, I went to Gloucester, and that they only needed me for a cover just for one game because their goalie had been suspended. But I went there in Conference North, and that was brilliant. That was really good, but just for one game. Like it was a proper nail game. It was good, and did pretty well. So they've sort of had me sort of on standby for the rest of that season if they needed me to go back. But, and then I went, where'd I go? Grays.
Grays, that was the one I was trying to think of.
Grays, just for a month later on in the season, just to get a few more games in, because I had been playing a few development ones, but like you said,
Mark Bentley still down, or was he left?
He was down there when I went down there, but he's left.
He's gone now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was good. He's good man.
So what's the biggest difference between sort of non-league environment and obviously what you do from day to day in the league environment? Because obviously we've seen you out on the pitch prior to your injury, being involved and being on the bench and stuff like that. So what's the biggest difference?
I think really is like a part of the preparation. Really, everything in the pro environment is so like everything's done for you. You'll like meals beforehand, warm-ups, everything is like to a T. Like
you like kit laid out and stuff like that. You have to sort yourself out at non-league, or
you take your own kit. I mean they'll obviously set out like your shirts and shorts and everything, but in terms of warm-up kit and all that, and taking your own boots, whereas obviously got Malcolm who'll take your boots and the skip and all that. So it's different. But in terms of the actual football, like I had a conversation, I think it was with the old goalie coach Jimmy Walker when he was here. We spoke about it. And he said like the actual football you'll play will be harder at that level than he said when you actually get out. And he said you go play a league game, like it's a different game. Like
Right.
you'll have more time on the ball. It's a slightly different. Obviously, the higher you go up, it's almost more like that. The more you get to the Premiership and that, then there's sort of more time on the ball certainly for goalkeepers. But the lower down you go, the more cut and thrust it is, and it's bang. It's like you've been.
Yeah, I suppose you've got centre forwards that don't mess about, don't you? They just want to just like barge into and stuff like that. And
exactly.
I suppose at your age as well, if you've got like a seasoned pro, they think,
exactly.
oh, we're some young upstart, we're gonna dig him an elbow or dig him
So,
out and see how he reacts to it and stuff.
In that sense, because it's just the learning curve and you get on with it and stuff. But it's in terms of pitches as well and that kind of thing. Like you're going to struggle on a bumpy pitch up at Whittam or something.
Nice, rather than so it's less grass and more sort of mud and sand and stuff like that.
Exactly. So,
Right, I'm going to touch on ex-manager a little bit, Justin Edinburgh. Did a little bit of research before I come and see you. There was a newspaper article got published in May of last year, 2016. He stated Tom is ready to challenge for the number 1 jersey with Stuart Nelson. Obviously now we know you've had an injury since then.
Yes.
But that was sort of that's a year ago now. So would that be the sole reason that it didn't really happen because you picked up the injury early on in the season?
Yeah, I suppose it hasn't really ever sort of been documented. When he came out and said that, obviously I think that was the plan and everything was all set and I was ready and stuff. So I had a good sort of off-season prep ready for pre-season. Sort of came back and then was sort of hit with this problem with my hip. So I obviously found out about August time. That I was like really struggling with it, and that I was going to need to go and get a second opinion from the surgeon, and so I went and got that sorted. So that was sort of bang early on August that I knew that I was going to be needing an operation to obviously sort my problem out, which has meant for a very frustrating season for me because I've been sort of nursing the injury to sort of help the club because obviously Bondi came in. And that was going to be then when I had my operation while he was here, but then he got injured, so I had to then step back up and literally.
So it makes sense. So the plan was that Jonathan Bond arrived from Reading, was obviously going to compete with Nels.
Yeah.
You could get your surgery sorted out and then be ready for the second half of the campaign.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, he ripped his groin twice. I think he'd done it once and then come back and lasted a game. Didn't he? Done it at
poor fella.
White Hart Lane of all places.
Yeah, he did. He was struggling with his injuries and that, and obviously that's no fault of his own. But it just meant that I had to then.
So you had to delay surgery.
I had to then delay my surgery and put that back and just nurse myself through as best as possible. Because it was not to the point where I couldn't play, but it was sort of inhibiting my training and my performance. So
I suppose then you start thinking about it then, do you? Because you think, I'm not fit, am I going to be able to do this or do that? And then you start thinking about stuff that you normally do on instinct.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And I always felt like I was doing the right stuff to just make sure I was available and I could get through. But it was not a point where I was going to be able to sort of play week in, week out and be able to perform to my max. So
to what you want to be at, the level
exactly.
you want to be, of course.
And obviously I want to aspire to playing like really well when I get my opportunity. So then it meant that I had to wait until sort of January when we could sign a new goalie when Thomas came in.
Right.
And then I could finally get my op, which is obviously really good for me to get that sorted.
But by then his season's written off.
The season's written off. But as long as and obviously touch with everything's going to plan. Pre-season is the target. I'll be back fully fit. So hopefully hit the ground running and go from there really.
So not much of a holiday then, it'll be.
No, it's straight back in.
Straight in all the time.
Yeah, working a bit through the off season with Gary physio. He's brilliant. Really looking after me, and I had a really good surgeon who's sort of making sure I do everything right. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too fussed if I don't get too much holiday. I haven't been doing too much in terms of since I was sat on my bum from my op. So
I suppose it's not like you're knackered from a hard season, unfortunately, for one reason or another.
It's a little bit mentally, you have to give yourself a little bit, but I'm quite happy just to get myself
crack
through
on and just get yourself ready to when the boys come back. You're one step ahead, so to speak.
Is the plan? Yeah.
Right, so that leads me on to the next question. So, in your head, first day of the season, fully fit. If you get the nod, you're ready to play first team football.
100%. Yeah, I mean, as we've touched on, I think you just got to do everything you can to get ready, and I was certainly done that. I'll be fighting fit, like flying, training hard, and you can literally just give it everything, and I think I'll be ready. I think I have been ready. I need to just play some games and get that exposure and just kick on from here, really. I just can't wait for it, really. It's one of those things, like, you just want to be given the chance. And
I injured myself. I mean, obviously, again, like I've said, at a much lower level. September 2015, it was like second game of the season, ruptured ankle ligaments, and missed the whole season. And we got to a cup final, and that was, I mean, obviously at my level, it's all relative. We played at Sheffield United's ground. There were 600 people there. So for me, like playing normally in front of literally like two managers, the subs, and maybe one old drunk with his dog in the morning on a field, like you say, like a bog, to then have 600 people there, and I had to just stand in the dugout and manage it, was heartbreaking. But it's obviously, it's a much bigger level for you, I suppose. Like, so you want to be getting out there in front of whatever's here, 5,000-6,000 hopefully again next season if 100%. We're playing well, and going to big away grounds. I mean, because there's going to be some good grounds with the teams coming down. Blackburn, Ewood Park, Rotherham's a nice ground. I know they're struggling financially. And who else come down at that? Wigan, so that'll be another big stadium. Fratton Park coming up. So
Portsmouth. 100%. To have that opportunity to get out there and get playing in those proper games, like games that mean something and stuff, and show what I'm about. It's just is 100% the target. So look forward.
So sitting here now, then. So you've said you're ready. So 2017, 2018, and further on. What's the big target for next season and beyond? Do you set yourself targets in, like, I want to be on the bench a certain amount of times, or I want to start so many games? Or obviously that may have changed now because of the fact that you've been injured for a few months. But
I mean, that's certainly, like.
So say we sat here in a year. For you to be happy, what would you be telling me's happened? What's the aim for next season?
100%. Well, you set yourself targets, so like it's sort of day to day, week to week, like in longer term ones, obviously. But for me, just to have got games under my belt at this level, like shown what I can do, pushed on and performed well, and just developed my learning and stuff, and got to a new stage in like my development, because obviously I'm still young, so like having been on the bench is another step, but wanted to really obviously kick on and play sort of the season just gone, but obviously circumstances didn't allow for that.
So bottom line is
so
you want to be,
I want to be playing
first team keeper.
I want to get out there and get playing, because it's that's where I will learn, and that's where I'll pick up.
Exactly. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
So then obviously longer term is the plan to help Gills get as far as I can, and then obviously, like all touch wood, and move on and get to top echelons.
So Premier League, international, and everything.
The whole thing.
Of course, it's all right sitting here now and fans go, oh, he wants to move on already and he's not made it. But that's ambition. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just people wanting to do the best for themselves and get to the very highest in their profession. In same if you're like a lawyer or whatever, you want to work for the best firm. You're not going to stay at the first one you start with, so to speak. So anyway, I think that is a wrap there. Cheers again, Tom, for coming on.
Pleasure.
It's good to meet you. Quick message for the Gills fans before we go.
Thank you very much for all your support. Greatly appreciated this season, especially when it got a bit hairy towards the end. So thank you.
Northampton weren't fun. We're not going to sit here and pretend that was a good day. It was relief at the end, and that was all it was.
Thank you for sticking by us, and hopefully next season we'll give you something a little bit bigger to cheer about, and and you can enjoy it.
There you go. And thank you for listening, watching. Please keep liking, subscribing, and until next time, up the Gills.